Hey, thanks for checking out this video. This is DM Tips for Shadow of the Dragon Queen Chapter 4, the first part of it. There'll be spoilers here, so if you're a player, please play the adventure, then come back afterward and let us know how it went. This is an adventure for 4th level characters. The project lead on it is F. Wesley Schneider. If you're playing this in a convention or a game day setting, I want to share some pacing here with you that you could use. Here we have the pacing that I used for the first hour, arriving in Kalaman, the second hour reporting for duty, checking out the castle, etc. Then into the missions by the midpoint, hour 2 to 3, and then finishing up with the missions for Kalaman in hour 3 to 4. This is a map. And now for pacing, you can of course do more or less interactions with the NPCs and more or less missions for Kalaman. I ended up running every mission, and it took right at about 4 hours, actually 3.5 hours to finish that up. So let me zoom out to the map of the whole adventure. This is all chapter 4, so I'm going to be touching every piece of this map. And keep in mind when I run this, of course, this map's not fully revealed to the players until they come to each location. It's all covered by fog of war. The adventure is taking place here in the Kalaman region, and this handy map will come into play during your adventure. You have Kalaman here, the Esker Brook. Some of the missions will be down there. The Gravel Run and Raiding Rills, some of the missions will be that direction. And then the Ruins of Bogler are here, and some of the missions will be near the Ruins of Bogler. So the adventure starts with the party arriving in the flotilla of refugees that came from Bogler. So Bogler is destroyed, and the refugees have just arrived. And as the refugees are arriving, the party can see in the distance Kalaman. They have the refugees suffering from various bad circumstances, youngsters on a boat that's drifting away, older man with a sprained ankle, a cold couple, some rowdy youths. So you can have the players kind of jump into the adventure and do their character introductions and that kind of stuff. Then if they have the armor from Becklin, they might want to award it to Darret. And so young Darret gets their armor, and then there's a token in chapter, I think it's 7, the adventure, and you can use this for Darret fully armored. There's Darret fully armored. Then someone in the party might notice that there is missing Becaris, Lord Becaris, and Becaris the Younger. And I did that, of course, with the whispers to various players with high perception skills, and they can share that way in character, hey, where's Becaris? Then if the party realizes Becaris is gone, Raven will advise them to go to the castle and empower them to negotiate for the villagers to seek aid. So if the party does go, they'll go to the entrance of the city of Kalaman, where the guards will know about Becaris passing. And then they could explore the city some, but they'll probably come back after talking to the council. Then they'll get to the castle. A guard will meet them at the gate and then escort them into the grounds. So here we have the castle gate. These maps are all by Tessa Maps, and that should be out on the DM's Guild here pretty soon. I'll put a link in the description below just for Tessa's product lines in general. And then once the maps come out, I'll put a link for that. So here's the Castle Kalaman. The party will come through the gatehouse and meet Becaris the Younger in the courtyard. And Becaris the Younger will say that his father's got everything taken care of. You guys can go. Of course, the party ignored that. The Minotaur intimidated Becaris, and Becaris, muttered some weak insults under his breath and then slinked away. Then the party will come into the castle. Here's the inside of the castle. They'll come through this entry hall to this long hall and then into the meeting room where Becaris, Lord Becaris, is waiting for them. And they have the council meeting. Now the council meeting and the concerns and the decision, a lot of stuff going on there. So I didn't post the text like I just did to the screen. Instead, I just referred to my notes and roleplayed all that with the party. Then the party will hopefully get the help of the town. Hopefully cast Lord Becaris in a bad light. The marshal is definitely most likely to see things in the party's favor. Marshal Vendry is pretty astute and sees right through Bacaris. The party will report back that Kalaman is going to help the villagers, and my party was eager to join the Kalaman military. If your party's not, then of course you have Dargaard who can do that and be the liaison between the party and the Kalaman military. So then the party will come back and report to duty eventually. Now, between them going to the villagers and reporting back, they can certainly explore the city. So here we have the city of Kalaman. We have we have the castle, the city market, the forges, the beacons, the harbor, Malura's oddities, and I had forgot this, but the gate guards should have referred any kinder to Malura's oddities. And then you have the steady beacon, and the steady beacon is where Bacaris and Bacaris the Younger will retire to and stay at. So if the party visits there, they could run into Bacaris and Bacaris the Younger again. You got the trade camps outside of town, which are growing because of all the refugees. You got Wyhand's Apothecary, should anyone need to be contacting the mages of high sorcery. And one party member of mine is doing that. Wasn't able to play today, but that worked out great because when the party visited the apothecary and asked about their friend, Wyden said their friend went to take the test. And I'll be doing the Test of High Sorcery adventure by Jonathan Fry and Kiana Shaw. And I'll have that this weekend. I'll run that. Okay, then you have, let's see here, Wyden's questions, Wyden's agreement. I skipped over that, of course, because the party wasn't doing any of that. And then that's it. Now they report back to duty at the castle. So they're shown where they can stay, and Vendry questions them more, talks to them about their salary. Somewhere you want to try and eke out of the party what the siege engine was, and what it looked like, and what it did when they were leaving Vogler, the dragon-like siege engine. Because as the party explores the castle and their lodgings, some of them might recognize the statuary as being Kyrie Jolith, and I whispered that to a player that knew a little bit about the Solamnic history. Then Dargaard will come visit them as they're kind of settling in, and then the next day, they get their first mission. And their first mission is to find a gnome who might know something about that dragon-like siege engine that the party ran into. So the party will head south from Kalaman down Esker Brook, right here on the map, just southwest of Kalaman. And on their mission down Esker Brook, they can run into some passing mercenaries. They can see a small burned farmhouse, and of course the party immediately thought when they saw this small burned farmhouse, dragons, because they were able to figure out that the place was burned from above. Now there's plenty of sheep around too. One of the Kender made one of the sheep their mount. None of them could speak with animals, but if they did, I'd have one of the sheep describe something flying overhead, something big and reptilian, and breathing fire down on the house. In the ruins of the house, I put some treasure. I kind of put extra treasure all around. The drift globe that the party could find, I moved to Malura's oddities when the Kender talked to her and just ended up with it as the Kender left. One of the party members pickpocketed Bacaris, and they found some dust of disappearance. That's not in the adventure. And then we'll get to the rest as we get to them. Well, the ring of jumping, I put in the remains of the ruined building, the burned out building. Well, then the party will eventually get onto the gnome's home. And so the workshop for the gnome is this amazing building bristling with steaming pipes and whirring devices, goblins, gnome inventions, and these goblins will fall pretty quick, and that's fine. The party will just kind of trounce these guys, stomp them, and then meet Tatina, who will claim that her inventions are being misused, and that's why she started fighting back, and will happily go back to the village with the party. Then, I'm in the town of Kalaman. Then back in Kalaman, they'll be asked to do some more scouting. So, the scouting missions that you can have them take part in, 2 of them are to the east of Kalaman. They are toward the river, the Raiding Rill River. And one of them is a farmhouse that has been basically ransacked. So the party will come to the backside of the farmhouse. They'll hear training going on in the back, and they can either climb over the fences or go through the farmhouse. If they go through the farmhouse, they'll see that it's been commandeered and there's troops staying here. In the backyard, you could have the hobgoblins training with the training dummies, a couple hobgoblins making archery practice here with this archery targets, and then the Dragon Army soldier. I might put more than one Dragon Army soldier here. This is a really pretty easy fight, or it was when I ran it. But you can use your judgment and up that if you think you need to. Then the next thing, as they are traveling along the road, even a little bit further than the farmhouse, they will come to these ruined wagons, and if they search the wagons, they'll find tracks heading off into the east and up the hill, and if they go up the hill, they'll find a camp of Draconians. And again, I beefed this one up a little bit with an extra Bozak Draconian, and it still wasn't too terribly hard for the party. Okay, those are the two things that are east of Kalaman, and then the last mission, you should be getting to this by like the 3-hour mark, 3 to 4 hours into the adventure. The party will head north of the Vingard River and look for some scouts that were lost or have not been heard from. And when they arrive, they find out why. They have a scout tied to a tree, they have a dead scout, and a couple of Baz Draconians questioning the scout. Then in the encounter in the adventure, there's one more Capac Draconian. And this is an encounter that you can really throw the kitchen sink at the players and really test their mettle. And it's the reason why you can do that kind of safely is because Draconians will want to capture the party, for one thing. For another thing, you have the next encounter being Cudgel's mercenaries, who can come to the assistance of the party if things get dire. So you can use your choice there. Have the Draconians capture the party, and then Cudgel saves them, or have Cudgel save them before they get captured. Either way. Or, if the party, like mine, rises to the challenge and defeats the Draconians, all the better. So instead of just one Capac, I put 4 Capac Draconians and had them glide down basically on their initiative and attack. I also added a Bozak Draconian for some more variety there. So that made a very challenging encounter. Characters drop into 0 hit points, and really fun fight. And then at the end of that fight, I have Cudgel appear, and Cudgel is bearing a lance. I added this to the adventure that belonged to Becklin. And this is, remember, Becklin was like into history and historic items. This is Becklin's lance, ancient but well-crafted lance, and it grants advantage to attack Istari or Istari creations, which will come up later in the adventure, once per long rest, just as a little extra little thing for a +1 weapon. There we have it. See the potions I think I put with the Dragon Army soldiers in that farmhouse. Everything else has been spoken for. Yeah, that's all the treasure that I put into the adventure. The Vargabs are in the AL if you're doing an AL, and so is the Drift Globe, but none of the rest are, unfortunately. There we go. That is Chapter 4B. I'll put the token links, I'll put some map links, and the knowledge checks that I used all in the description below. I hope you have a great time running and playing this adventure. Come back and let me know how it went after you're done in the comments below.